into St. Francis Hospital last night after he was injured by a ceiling that collapsed on top of him in a building on Capitol Avenue. Firefighters were called to the scene just before 9:30, and the blaze quickly went into extra alarms. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll have the latest as investigators try to figure out what sparked the fire.
Also in Hartford, some officials are looking to make a clean sweep.
Secure right now. Arson investigators were here combing through the ashes, trying to determine what started this amazing fire. The upper portions of this residential state-owned building were vacant at the time, but one fireman is hospitalized tonight trying to put this 3-alarmer out. Fire investigators suspect last night's fire on Capitol Avenue may have been going for some time before they got the call. Flames were shooting through the roof of this 78-year-old complex when they arrived to knock it down. 2 firemen were injured, one seriously. Veteran firefighter Harry Dunkley, who's no stranger to infernos like this, got hurt as he and his colleagues were backing out of one of the burning storefronts. A ceiling collapsed on the 19-year veteran, breaking 2 of his legs. He was taken to St. Francis Hospital. Arson investigators weren't able to get inside the building to begin their probe until midday. That's because hot spots still burned, and the structure was determined to be unsafe.
They're still going through the interior that they can get in where it's safe, and usually try to find the source of where the fire started.
The fire marshal's office started looking for evidence in one of the stores as gas company crews opened up the street to shut off the gas lines feeding the building. Though not officially determined suspicious, one retired fireman says this 3-alarmer had all the obvious signs.
It had all the makings of this would happen.
Why is that?
Well, it was a vacant building, and it seems to me in the city of Hartford we have roughly now, I don't know how many, probably 100 or 200 vacant buildings that have all been destroyed by fire.
One neighbor told me they've been trying to get the city and the state to tear the empty building down, but no one would listen. Now fire officials say it'll have to come down. Now, we learned a short while ago that Hartford firefighter 49-year-old Harry Dunkley was operated on this afternoon at St. Francis Hospital. He is expected to recover, but because of the nature of his injuries, Dennis and Carrie, they say he's not expected back on the job for quite some time.
Kevin Hogan live tonight in Hartford's West End. A different
building, but it damaged much more than that. While the building was destroyed, 2 Hartford firefighters were injured in the Thanksgiving Day blaze at South Whitney Street and Capitol Avenue. Judy Chavez live in Hartford with the latest. Judy.
Joanne, it's still a mess out here. Obviously, this structure not safe for anyone to be around. Even investigative crews who returned back to the scene had to proceed back in with caution. Fire investigators returned to the scene, focusing their attention on the entire building, including Ellie's food store and a hair salon next door. Investigators aren't sure what sparked the 3-alarm fire. Crews spent nearly 7 hours hosing down hot spots in the vacant building. Stubborn flames continued leaping from the roof, smoke drifting to adjacent areas. Buses were called in so residents in nearby buildings could be evacuated. The blaze broke out around 9:30. It became evident the situation was dangerous when the roof collapsed and caved in on fireman Harry Dunkley. Dunkley suffered 2 broken legs.
They were backing out at the time, and the ceiling came down on one individual and trapped him.
This fireman, Luis Quiones, complained of an ankle injury. He was taken to St. Francis Hospital.
Their stores were occupied, and the part of the building was vacant, so it's not considered arson at this time.
Quiones was treated and released. Dunkley underwent surgery earlier today. He remains in satisfactory condition at St. Francis Hospital. We are live here in Hartford. I'm Judy Chavez, NBC 30 Connecticut News. Joanne, back to you.
All right, Judy, thanks. A 16-year-old bridge right across the street from the Mark Twain house. A fire in a 4-story apartment building had mothers grabbing their kids and hoping there was time to get out. Tonight, at least 20 families are not being allowed back into their homes. Channel 3's Dee Griffin is live on Forest Street in Asylum Hill with the very latest. Dee?
Denise, the people who live in this 32-unit building cannot sleep here tonight. They were chased out by a fire that started in a second-floor unit. Now, I'm told one resident was taken to the hospital for observation. The fire is out. However, it will be a long time before the people here forget about what happened.
And I just put my jeans on and my slippers and I ran with them. We didn't have time to get anything.
Barely clothed, with her young daughters in tow, Ilya Brito ran for the street, fearing a fire at their heels. Looking back at their home, this is what they saw. Firefighters on ladders with hoses in hand, trying to extinguish flames pouring from a window.
It was one apartment unit that was on fire. It was held to the one apartment.
While firefighters fought the flames in that unit, Sojourner Durham fought to get her neighbors out alive.
I came across the street, banged on my window so my baby father can get our kids out. Then I ran in the building, ring everybody's doorbell so they can get out.
With her help, everyone managed to make it out except this woman, Veronica Canyon, trapped on the top floor with smoke filling the apartment. Her husband headed down to alert firefighters for help.
They took a hold of me and got me out of there, got me in the bucket and brought me down.
Once on the street, she joined fellow residents, each looking on with horror, each comforting a neighbor in need, trying to find answers to a questionable future in their home.
I don't know how long it's going to be. Now, most of the residents have been taken to a Red Cross shelter for the night. Meanwhile, investigators are still trying to determine exactly what sparked the flames. And also, no word on the condition of the woman taken to the hospital. Back to you in the studio, Denise.
Dee Griffin on the Night Beat tonight in Hartford.
Department tells NBC 34